Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ben in my lovely single carriage workshop again today, and I'm just showing you my latest build, which is this outfeed table slash workbench I've made. With, as we all know, the rising cost of wood, I thought to myself, I need a workbench, but how can I do it without spending an absolute fortune? And the best thing I think of is get some cabinets. I see them on Facebook Marketplace all the time. Everyone's either selling them cheap or just giving them away. So I thought if I could get some carcasses, add just a little bit of wood support around it, I could maybe make myself a great little workbench. I also added a flip top bit at the back, which one I don't need, can just fold away nicely underneath, then it can go flush against the wall. I also designed it so it sits just slightly lower than my table saw, so when I'm cutting anything big, they'll just plop straight onto it. I think it turned out as well as it could. Very, very sturdy. So what I started first off was to build up my plans on my little design app, get all my dimensions and just get an overall look of how it was going to be. I then attached all my carcasses together in a row just to make sure I could get all my measurements correct, ready to cut down my lumber. I say I'm using 38 by 63. Start off by squaring the sides off, don't like just factory ends, and then cutting them down. I then made this base, ensuring that everything was square when putting this together. I then added my carcass on top, making sure it was flush with the edge, starting at one end, attaching it to the base frame, and then attaching all the carcasses together and attaching it to the base frame as I went. I then added my full surround support, did the same to the other side, and then put some scrap bits of ply on there just to cover them gaps. I then built the extension frame using the top frame as a reference, filled in some holes and some gaps where there may be, sand them down later, and then installed my hinges using this self-centering drill bit. Heavy duty ones on the back, you'll need it, it's a heavy top. Pre-drilled all them, ready to attach my extension. Before I did that though, I did make these simple legs with casters with some hinged onto the side supports just for when I want the flip top. These will just pop round, roll round and sit on top of there, and then they'll just fold back in. I made them so they sit under the frame so they don't get in the way of the flip top when it folds down. So I'm just attaching the flip top frame. I didn't go any central supports and it's not going to be used that often. I didn't think it needed any center supports, so I just left it as an open frame. Keep it simple. I then put an 18mm ply top on and then flush trimmed it to my frame. Just screwed it down several different places and then flush trimmed it together. I noticed that one of my cabinets on the front was too big because I had to cut that middle one down to fit underneath. So I had to cut that cabinet down and reattach it, and you can see with my 18mm ply on there and my door cut down to size. A little bit of finish on top. I thought I want to give it a bit of protection. Now everyone uses like some really expensive laminate. I couldn't afford that, so I found this vinyl. It's almost like what you wrap cars in. So I thought I'd give that a go just to give it some protection from like stain or glue, anything falling on the worktop. So I started by cleaning it, hoovering all the dust off the worktop. Sprayed some mineral spirits down and wiped off all the remaining dust. You've got to make sure this is well prepped and clean before you can put this down. Then just rolled it out and then very slowly took, because it's self-adhesive, just slowly peeled the backing off And then with my hand, would have been better with like a squeegee or something like that. Laid it down. Then added a nice little round over to the edges, just to get it all trimmed up and looking pretty. And then there you have it. Workbench is all complete. A couple of bits that I didn't catch on the video, so I'll just go through it quickly at the end, is the casters I used. I would have preferred the ones that attach to the sides that like lift it off the floor and then move it, but they're like £40-50 for good ones, so I had to end up going for ones that sit underneath with brakes on them. For the flip top, on the end of the legs that the top sits on, I got some adjustable feet that you normally put on the bottom of cabinets. I actually put it on the top, so then I can raise it up and down, because my garage isn't level, so wherever I sit it in there, I can adjust it so that my flip top then sits flat with my main workbench surface. I am absolutely over the moon with how this turned out. It was so cheap. Even with the casters and everything, I probably spent less than £30 on the timber and hardware that I needed. I mean, I think you could probably go as fancy or as cheap as you want with this, and just give it a go. Absolutely give it a go. I did make the plans. Nothing turns out as it should. I found out that these old cabinets, they weren't square. There was bits I had to adjust and change as I went. But overall, really enjoyed the project, and I can't complain with how it's turned out. Hopefully, this will last me for a very long time. Thank you all again for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment below.